kingdom of fools, the king and his minister were not very smart people. They wanted to rule differently from other kings, so they decided to turn night into day and day into night. This meant everyone had to stay awake at night to work in their fields and do business after dark. When the sun came up, everyone had to go to bed. If anyone didn't follow these new rules, they would be punished with death. Because people were afraid of dying, they did what they were told. The king and the minister were very happy that their plan worked. One day, a guru, meaning of guru is a wise teacher, and his disciple, meaning of disciple is a student or follower, arrived in this city. It was a very pretty city, and it was broad daylight, but there was no one around. Everyone was asleep, and not even a mouse was moving. Even the cows and other animals had been taught to sleep during the day. The two strangers were really surprised by what they saw. They walked around the town until evening. Suddenly, the whole town woke up and started their usual nightly activities. The guru and the disciple were hungry. Now that the shops were open, they went to buy some food. To their surprise, they found that everything cost the same, just a single dudu. Meaning of dudu is a type of old coin or money. It didn't matter if they bought a lot of rice or a bunch of bananas, it all cost one dudu. The guru and his disciple were very happy because they had never heard of anything like this before. They could buy all the food they wanted for just 1 rupee. After they cooked and ate, the guru realized that this place was a kingdom of fools. He thought it was not a good idea for them to stay there. He told his disciple, "This is no place for us, let's go." But the disciple didn't want to leave. Everything was so cheap there, and all he wanted was good, cheap food. The guru warned him, "They are all fools. This won't last very long, and you can't tell what they'll do to you next." But the disciple didn't listen to the guru's wise words. He wanted to stay. So the guru finally gave up and said, "Do what you want. I'm going." And then he left. The disciple stayed on and ate his fill every day. Bananas, ghee, rice, and wheat. He grew as fat as a sacred bull found on the street. One bright day, a thief broke into a rich merchant's house. He made a hole in the wall and sneaked in. As he was carrying out the stolen things, his loot, the wall of the old house fell on his head and killed him right there. The thief's brother ran to the king and complained. He told the king, "Your Highness, my brother was doing his old job, ancient trade." Meaning of ancient trade is a term used sarcastically here to refer to stealing, implying it was the thief's traditional profession, and a wall fell on him and killed him. This merchant is to blame. He should have built a good, strong wall. You must punish the person who did wrong, wrongdoer, and give money to my family for this unfairness, injustice. The king said, "Justice will be done, don't worry," and immediately called the owner of the house. When the merchant arrived, the king questioned him. The king asked his name, and he replied, "Such and such, Your Highness." The king then asked if he was at home when the dead man burgled his house. The merchant said, "Yes, my lord. He broke in, and the wall was weak. It fell on him." The king declared, "The accused says he is guilty. Your wall killed this man's brother. You have murdered a man. We have to punish you." The helpless merchant said, "Lord, I didn't put up the wall." He explained, "It's really the fault of the man who built the wall. He didn't build it right. You should punish him." The king asked, "Who is that?" The merchant replied, "My lord, this wall was built when my father was alive. I know the man. He's an old man now. He lives nearby." The king sent his messengers to bring in the bricklayer. Ki, meaning of bricklayer, is a person who builds walls with bricks and mortar, who had built the wall. They brought him, tied up hand and foot. The king asked him, "You there, did you build this man's wall in his father's time?" The bricklayer said, "Yes, my lord, I did." The king then asked, "What kind of a wall is this that you built?" "It has fallen on a poor man and killed him. You've murdered him. We have to punish you by death." Before the king could order the execution, the poor bricklayer begged him, "Please listen to me before you give your orders." He admitted, It's true I built this wall and it was no good. But he explained, but that was because my mind was not on it. I remember very well a dancing girl who was going up and down that street all day with her anklets jingling, and I couldn't keep my eyes or my mind on the wall I was building. You must get that dancing girl. I know where she lives. The king said, "You're right. The case deepens. We must look into it." He added, "It is not easy to judge such complicated cases. Let's get that dancer, wherever she is." The dancing girl, who was now an old woman, came shaking, trembling to the court. The king asked her, "Did you walk up and down that street many years ago while this poor man was building a wall? Did you see him?" She replied, "Yes, my lord. I remember it very well." The king then said, "So you did walk up and down with your anklets jingling. You were young and you distracted him, so he built a bad wall." He continued, "It has fallen on a poor burglar and killed him. You've killed an innocent man. You'll have to be punished." She thought for a minute and said, "My lord, wait." She then explained, "I know now why I was walking up and down that street." She said, "I had given some gold to the goldsmith." Meaning of goldsmith is a person who makes things out of gold, like jewelry, to make some jewelry for me. She complained, "He was a lazy scoundrel." Meaning of scoundrel is a dishonest or bad person. He made so many excuses, said he would give it now and he would give it then, and so on, all day. She stated, "He made me walk up and down to his house a dozen times. That was when this bricklayer saw me." She concluded, "It's not my fault, my lord. It's the damned goldsmith's fault." The king thought, "Poor thing, she's absolutely right." He felt they had found the real culprit at last. He ordered, "Get the goldsmith, wherever he is hiding, at once." The king's bailiffs, meaning of bailiffs, are law officers who carry out court orders, searched for the goldsmith, who was hiding in a corner of his shop. When he heard the accusation against him, he had his own story to tell. "My lord," he said, "I'm a poor goldsmith." He admitted, "It's true, I made this dancer come many times to my door." He gave his excuse. "I gave her excuses because I couldn't finish making her jewelry before I finished the rich merchant's orders." He added, "They had a wedding coming, and they wouldn't wait. You know how impatient rich men are." The king asked, "Who is this rich merchant who kept you from finishing this poor woman's jewelry, made her walk up and down, which distracted this bricklayer, which made a mess of his wall, which has now fallen on an innocent man and killed him? Can you name him?" The goldsmith named the merchant, and it turned out to be the original owner of the house whose wall had fallen. The king thought justice had come full circle, back to the merchant. When the merchant was rudely called back to the court, he arrived crying, "It wasn't me, but my father who ordered the jewelry. He's dead. I'm innocent." But the king discussed it with his minister and made a strong decision. He said, "It's true your father is the true murderer." He added, "He's dead, but somebody must be punished in his place." He told the merchant, "You've inherited everything from that criminal father of yours, his riches as well as his sins." The king said, "I knew at once, even when I first set eyes on you, that you were at the root of this horrible crime. You must die." He then ordered a new stake key, meaning of stake is a wooden post used for executions, to be made ready. As the servants sharpened the stake and got it ready for the execution, final impaling of the criminal, it occurred to the minister that the rich merchant was too thin to be properly executed on the stake. He talked to the king about it, and the king also worried. "What shall we do?" the king asked. Suddenly, it struck him that all they needed was to find a man fat enough to fit the stake. The servants were immediately sent all over the town looking for such a man. Their eyes fell on the disciple, who had fattened himself for months on bananas, rice, wheat, and ghee. The disciple cried, "What have I done wrong? I'm innocent. I'm a sannyasi." Meaning of sannyasi is a holy man or ascetic. The servants told him, "That may be true, but it's the royal decree that we should find a man fat enough to fit the stake," and they carried him to the execution place. He remembered his wise guru's words, "This is a city of fools. You don't know what they will do next." While he was waiting to die, He prayed to his guru in his heart, asking him to hear his cry wherever he was. The guru saw everything in a vision. He had magic powers and could see far, the future, the present, and the past. He arrived immediately to save his disciple, who had gotten himself into this difficult situation. Scrape, meaning of scrape, is a difficult situation or predicament, because he loved food. As soon as he arrived, he scolded the disciple and then whispered something to him. Then he went to the king and asked him, "O wisest of kings, who is greater, the guru or the disciple?" The king replied, "Of course the guru, no doubt about it. Why do you ask?" The guru then said, "Then put me to the stake first. Put my disciple to death after me." When the disciple heard this, he understood the plan and started to shout loudly. Clamor, meaning of clamor, is to make a loud and confused noise. "Me first, you brought me here first. Put me to death first, not him." The guru and the disciple then started fighting about who should go first. The king was confused by this behavior. He asked the guru, "Why do you want to die?" "We chose him because we needed a fat man for the stake." The guru replied, "You shouldn't ask me such questions. Put me to death first." The king insisted, "Why, there's some mystery here. As a wise man, you must make me understand." A guru asked, "Will you promise to put me to death if I tell you?" The king gave him his serious promise, solemn word. Meaning of solemn word is a serious promise or vow. ... The guru took him aside, where the servants couldn't hear, and whispered to him, "Do you know why we want to die right now, the two of us? We've been all over the world, but we've never found a city like this or a king like you." He explained, "That stake is the stake of the God of justice. It's new. It has never had a criminal on it. Whoever dies on it first will be reborn as the king of this country, and whoever goes next will be the future minister of this country." He added, "We're sick of our ascetic life." Meaning of ascetic life is a life of strict self-discipline and simple living. It would be nice to enjoy ourselves as king and minister for a while. Now keep your word, my lord, and put us to death. Me first, remember? The king was now thinking very deeply. He didn't want to lose the kingdom to someone else in the next life. He needed time, so he ordered the execution to be postponed to the next day. He talked secretly with his minister. "It's not right for us to give over the kingdom to others in the next life," he said. "Let's go on the stake ourselves, and we'll be reborn as king and minister again." "Holy men do not tell lies," he added, and the minister agreed. So he told the executioners, "We'll send the criminals tonight. When the first man comes to you, put him to death first. Then do the same to the second man. Those are my orders. Don't make any mistake." That night, the king and his minister went secretly to the prison. They released the guru and the disciple. They disguised themselves as the two, and as they had planned with loyal servants, they were taken to the stake and quickly executed. When the bodies were taken down to be thrown to crows and vultures, the people became very scared and confused. Panicked. Meaning of panicked is felt sudden, uncontrollable fear. They saw the dead bodies of their king and minister. The city was in chaos, confusion. All night they mourned and talked about the future of the kingdom. Some people suddenly thought of the guru and the disciple. They caught up with them as they were trying to leave town without being noticed. Someone said, "We people need a king and a minister." Others agreed. They begged the guru and the disciple to be their king and minister. It didn't take many arguments to convince the disciple, but it took longer to persuade the guru. They finally agreed to rule the kingdom of the foolish king and silly minister. But they had a condition. They would be allowed to change all the old laws. From then on, night became night again, and day became day again, and you could no longer buy everything for just one dudu. The place became like any other normal place. This story is a Kannada folktale. Meaning of folktale is a traditional story passed down by word of mouth from A.K. Ramanujan's Folk Tales from India. Like, share, and subscribe.